What's up? Finally back. Finally not having to whisper in the house. So I am going to make a quick video today. Guys, I've been working real hard at this whole football shit. Indoors, inside, with lots of liquids. Super hard stuff. You know how that goes. So, just to kind of give you a little update on what's going on. I know I'm not posting every week. Be honest with you, I would love to give you a schedule, but my own personal schedule has been just pretty much different every single week, so I can't commit to like a particular day that everything is coming out. What I can tell you though is that I am still working on the book. We are getting pretty close to being wrapped up with that. The book that I will be having coming out sooner than later, I'd say within the next week to 2 weeks, is still just putting some final touches on it, is going to be what we would call like an evergreen topic of just how to bet the NFL, creating algorithms, the two that I predominantly use, that is, as well as some other like tendencies and habit breakers and stuff like that within just betting the NFL. So it's not going to be something I do like every year. It's not just upcoming picks or anything like that. The book is going to be to help you become a better handicapper and to help create algorithms so that you can kind of do this stuff on your own and beat me and anybody else you may be watching kind of to the punch. Because once you hear something on YouTube or a podcast or whatever, the cat is pretty much out of the bag, especially if you are listening to something on a big platform, something like a Warren Sharp or ESPN or whatever. Those guys, once they put out their information, you're not the only one hearing it, and unless you hear it at the butt-ass crack of dawn, the number has probably moved by the time you get to it. So, that all being said, let's get into this real quick. I'm going to go over one score win percentage from last year and just kind of what that does, what that means, and why it's important. This is going to be not a chapter, but it'll be within a chapter of the book that's coming out as far as one score win percentage and how we use that for the algorithms. For today's purposes, it's kind of twofold. So one, expect regression. There are teams on here that went both 100% wins on these one score win percentages, and there are teams that did the exact opposite and lost every single game that was decided by one score or less. And that is exactly what a one score win percentage is. It's important because it kind of dictates to you how good the coach is at managing these tight games. On average, if you have an average coach with regular NFL talent level players, you should be coming in around 50%, and you should have anywhere from 7 to 8 one possession game total or finishes. So that's going to be like your average NFL team. At the end of the season, you'll look at it, they'll have 6, 7, 8 games that were decided by one score, and of those, let's say 7 games, they'll be like 3-4, 4-3, or something pretty similar to that. So let's look at some of the teams that really went above and beyond to begin with. All the top 5 teams here that are in green, if you're looking at the screen, the Buccaneers went an amazing 6-0. We all knew Bruce Arians was great. He already won the Super Bowl. Tom Brady, of course, has won several Super Bowls. Not a big surprise there. I do expect a pretty decent amount of regression in that game, though, or for that team, because of the changes that are going on with the Buccaneers. Some of it is injuries. They have changed their coach, Todd Bowles. If you've seen the other videos, I do not believe in. So I do really expect that to, one, decrease on the percentage, meaning not 100%. They'll probably be closer in line to a 50% win percentage. And number two, I don't believe they're going to have only 6 one-score games with Todd Bowles as the head coach. You're probably looking at a higher number of games that are going to come down to the wire, something like 8 games or so. So instead of going 6-0, I would project them more for like a 5-3 in one score win percentage next year, and kind of take that as you may when it comes to betting season win totals, betting game to game for fantasy purposes, all that kind of stuff. Because that all does come into play when we're looking at this, especially for guys like Leonard Fournette. If they're trying to salt away a one possession game, you're going to get more runs, you're going to get more possessions, and you're going to get some more stat padding. Whereas if there's one possession games, but you're maybe not on the top side of that one possession, you're not going to have as many runs, you're not going to have as slow of a tempo, and you're not going to have as many rushing touchdowns. So the Steelers are number 2 on this list. They go 8-2, total of 80% on the win percentage. This is entirely due to Mike Tomlin. That team was just kind of half-assed, maybe mediocre when you look at them on paper. They did have some talent, obviously, but nothing like world-beating levels of talent. Mike Tomlin just knows how to get shit done, how to win these one-position games. And the Steelers, I can tell you, are really the prime example of what I mean by having a great coach know how to manage these one-possession games. Guy's just awesome. He knows how to get it done and how to wrap it up and exactly what to do to come away with the win and keep a lead or possibly stay within striking distance of these games. Next is the Falcons. That one was really surprising, but the Falcons, the Raiders, and the Titans are all kind of in the same boat where they just had a lot of one-score games, and they came out on the right side of those. These 3 teams, I think, are primed for regression. I think all of these teams are probably going to go down, obviously, in win percentage, but it's probably more of like a 4-3, maybe 4-5 kind of split, where obviously they're still going to get some wins. They're going to have more than their share of losses than they did last year. And so again, if you're looking at this from whether it's a betting perspective, a totals perspective, fantasy, whatever it is, just keep in mind, I'm not promising, obviously, nothing's a lock, right? We're not at Home Depot, but there is a very good track record here of seeing regression in teams like this, and that you're going to have less wins and everything that comes with that. So if you want more details on that, we'll break it down in the book. But instead of going team by team here, I'm going to get to the very last part of this, and that is the shitty teams that didn't win any of their one-score possessions. And by shitty, I mean strictly in one-possession game tempos. So the Texans, no surprise, they went 0-4. Terrible coach, really subpar level talent, just not impressive whatsoever. But the Bills also went 0-5. Now this is also prime for regression. I think the Bills, if you have any luck or belief in them at all, you're probably more prone to go something like 3-3 or 3-2 or something like that in the upcoming season. Even though I believe they may have some more one possession games coming up their way, because they did lose Sean McDermott. I'm sorry, not Sean McDermott. They lost their offensive coordinator. I do believe Sean McDermott is going to be able to keep this boat afloat as long as he can, kind of keep in tempo with what they did last year. However, a lot of these games that they lost on the one-score possessions because they could not run the ball effectively, meaning they couldn't salt away games, they couldn't milk the clock, they kept putting themselves in positions to continue to throw the football, even though they may have been up with the lead in the fourth quarter, and because of that, they couldn't effectively manage their time, and that ends up getting you losses and losses that you shouldn't have. The very first one in the season was to the Steelers. So that being said, again, that goes back to coaching, and not that that's the end-all be-all for coaching, but you need a coach that knows how to manage these games, because it's going to make a big difference, especially at the end of the season, when 1 or 2 wins can take you from being the division champion to having to play a wild card game. So the Texans, again, maybe there is some regression there. I'm not really so keen to put any money on that. I really do see them just still not being a good team this year. Maybe they go 2-2. That's if they can still get 4 one-possession games. Not a whole lot to go over there. I just don't think the Texans are a good team at all. Yeah, maybe Brandon Cooks will be fine for fantasy. That's about it. I don't see a whole lot coming from them. I don't like Lovie Smith. I don't like his setup. I don't like what he's looking to do. I still don't really like most of the pieces on that team. They have not really done much of anything to address lots of gaping holes they have all up and down that roster. The other teams that finished in the bottom 5 for one-score possession wins were the Broncos, Lions, and Panthers. These 3 teams, as well as the top 3 that we went over, also primed for regression. This way, or this side of the graph is going to be going the other way, meaning that we would probably be more likely to see the Broncos, the Lions, and the Panthers go more of like a 3-3, 4-4, somewhere around there with one score possession games at the end of this year, meaning that you can expect some more wins from these teams, especially with the upgrading quarterback that you have for the Panthers and the Broncos. The Lions, maybe not so much, but it is a second year for their coach. So Dan Campbell taking that next step forward as a coach, I could see definitely leading to some more wins. Maybe it's more of like a 3-6, 3-5 kind of season, but either way, some extra wins should be coming their way in these one-score possession games. But thanks a lot, guys. Like I said, I just need to wrap it up quick here. Everyone have a great day. Good luck, and I will let you guys know as soon as the book is out.